Hey everyone, Chicken Plate here. First of all, I want to thank you all for checking my first video. I really didn't think I would get that kind of support right from the start. I know this was gonna be a video about the new medic role, but things took a turn, and after seeing so much negative feedback on the community Discord server, I decided to say something myself and sum up the opinions of the community. I do warn you, this video is mostly negative, but a lot of it are my personal views, so I might get hated for this, but anyways, you can either agree or disagree with what I think. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, and in the end smash the like or dislike button and let me know down in the comments what you think. I want to start by addressing the problems I noticed in this update that bother me the most. I have been playing this game for quite some time now, and I know how it works pretty well, or at least I knew how it worked. Now since the update, I've been finding the game rather confusing, and I have found that a lot of things are overcomplicated and I think in a lot of cases too hard for new players to really learn. I don't consider myself to be a veteran player, but I'd say I'm an experienced one. And even for me, it was hard to adapt to some changes. For example, the garrison distance being 200 meters now makes placing a garrison a complex task, because one poorly placed garrison can get your point lost in no time, because you aren't able to place a good garrison then, because the distance limit doesn't allow you to. Next thing I find very odd is the engineer ghost structures. I noticed that after you've made the transparent structure, and there are sufficient amount of supplies around to build it into a real structure, the game won't allow you to dismantle the ghost bunker, for example. In my example, the enemy team has already pushed up by the time I could have enough supplies there. So I tried to go and dismantle it, but I couldn't, which resulted in me not being able to place another bunker for the rest of the game, because I had reached my building limit. Things like that frustrate me and should be looked into. Then trucks. Firstly, trucks have wheels and should be able to steer without holding the gas at the same time, but instead they handle like a tank, and it gets worse. They have automatic transmissions, which makes it impossible to go uphill because you can't downshift. Next, I haven't noticed any bullet penetration since the update. And that's not just me. I've been seeing people complain about that all over the Hell Let Loose Discord server. Another thing I've noticed was the grass. In the patch notes you can see the grass overhaul title. The word overhaul to me means a big change and not just fixing the fact that the grass before was very shiny. The main problem about the grass for me wasn't its look, but rather the way it loads in. That is approximately 3 meters in front of you while you're running, and having grass only in close vicinity to you, while for example laying down, makes it impossible for you to see anything, while the enemies that are more than 20 or so meters away can see you as clearly as if you were laying down on a concrete floor. And the fact that the more you turn the foliage setting down, the more you see. It should just look worse and not give you an advantage over your enemies. Another thing I've noticed is that all the objects you're looking at that are more than 60 meters away look very Minecraft-like. And no matter what you do with the AA settings, this remains a problem. The sound is great, to be honest. The explosions are really good sounding. But, yes, there's a but. Why did you have to add that silly popping sound of the rounds when they hit an object? To me, it was very distracting at first, and I thought my headphones are broken, and they're not. I've got used to it, but it still sometimes annoys me and doesn't sound very good. As for the performance, I can't turn a blind eye to the fact that on Omaha or Carentan I get 45 to 55 frames per second, but my i7-9700K is nice and cool because its utilization is at about 35%, while my RTX 2080 is also sitting at about 30 to 40%. That tells me that the game is poorly optimized. Yes, some content creators have been saying the game got an FPS boost, but it's obviously only noticeable to those who gain 30 FPS because they're running an i9 and an RTX 3000 series GPU. To me, it's not noticeable to an extent where I could say the FPS boost was even worth mentioning in the patch notes. Next thing I don't like very much is what they did with the tank gameplay. I used to love it. It was actually one of my favorite things to play. But now I find it more or less unamusing trying to destroy a light US tank with a Panther and almost getting wrecked by it because my Panther suddenly needs 5 shots to kill it. One good thing they did is fixing those machine gun tracers, so now I actually know where I'm shooting with my machine gun. Now to the problems that have been upsetting the majority of those who dislike the new update. I have been reading the feedback on the Discord server, and the main problem for people seems to be the introduction of many new loadouts, and with it the fact that if at sufficient level, the whole squad can have a semi-automatic or automatic weapons, whereas before there were mainly bolt-on weapons if playing as a German. Yes, I understand that before it was frustrating to play against M1 Garand as a German, but to be fair, Germans have better tanks, so I don't see the reason why Americans shouldn't have a slight advantage in the gunplay. A Jumbo 76 Sherman stands little to no chance against a Tiger in a head-to-head shootout, and so does the Kar 98K against the Garand. Also, I've seen numerous complaints about the running being slower, way slower than before, and the ability of destroying an AT mine being taken from us. Also, changing the hitboxes has led to hands working as a shield, which means if you're shooting at an enemy from 10 meters away facing them, you can get unlucky and hit their hand, resulting in you getting killed because you thought they were gonna die, but they didn't. And another problem are the friendly class icons that are too small at distance. So to sum up, I'm not very happy with where this update has taken the game, and so seems to be the case with the whole community. I hope the devs listen to the people, like they seem to always have, and make the game back to the one super fun reality shooter that it used to be. I loved it before, and I'm trying to love it now, but I find it hard to love something that let me down. And on that note, I'm out. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.